Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of AAA Talks with your host Muaz.
Safe.
And joining us again is
Guled.
Mr. Guled. Bro, it's amazing to have you back on.
Appreciate that.
Well done, bro.
The people have spoken.
Made it.
Gulaid is here for the summer, enjoying his summer holiday break. You know, teachers get quite a bit of time off. Especially teachers that have come from the Middle East. But the streets have spoken, and due to popular demand, we brought you back on, bro. We keep things fair. Bro, thanks for coming back on. But I want to go right into it.
Go on.
Is there institutionalized racism in the UK education sector? And before you answer,
Go on.
I want to read out some stats.
Okay.
Okay.
Homework is done, yeah?
Homework was done. All right. Sorry. Now, are you ready for this? Yeah? I'm going to start off with exclusion rates.
Okay.
Black Caribbean pupils are 3 times more likely to be permanently excluded than white British pupils. Study done in 2022, only 3 years ago. Yeah. Mixed white and black Caribbean boys are twice as likely to be excluded compared to the national average. The charity show Racism the Red Card. The charity show Racism the Red Card. I'm sure you've heard of it, obviously.
Of course, if it's reoffend that
Reported that 78% of students from ethnic minorities had witnessed or experienced racism in school. I'm going to move on. In 2020, data from UCAS showed that black applicants were less likely to receive offers from Russell Group universities than white applicants with similar grades. I'm going to move on. Academic staff. Just 1% of professors in the UK and teachers are black, despite black people making up around 3% of the UK population. In 2023, only 41 black women were professors across the UK out of over 22,000 professors in total. Okay? The list is mad. Ultimately, disproportionate exclusions, attainment gaps, underrepresentation in senior academic roles, bias in admissions and assessment, daily racism experienced by students. I want to take you back to a few years ago of the school in Hackney.
Go on.
Do you remember that incident?
No, go on, tell me.
Of the black student, the black girl that was
Yes. That was
strip
all over
searched.
the internet. Yeah. Heard about it.
Bro, as a teacher, or you were a teacher in the UK for a long time, is that even allowed? When you listen to these stats, isn't this so alarming?
Yeah, it was shocking. It was all over the internet. Well, it was a girl that was searched.
I don't know the incident.
So there was a girl that
I've
was,
forgotten.
I think they assumed either she had a weapon or she had drugs.
I think
One
it was
of the two.
drugs, yeah.
Drugs, and then they did a search on her. Schools do searches. So you're gonna have like senior leadership teachers that have been like senior SLT members that have been taught how to positively handle students. So they'll go through some sort of education, like some sort of training on how to search students adequately. In this case, they stripped search her. They told her to take off all of her clothes.
Underwear as well.
Everything. So it was unheard of. Shocking. How on earth were they able to do that?
And it was
wild. Imagine that's your daughter. So the question that I then ask is why? Why did they go that far? What is it? What was the mindset behind it? How did they allow that to happen in general? Because you've got so many people within that school. You've got so many professionals that know this is not right. There is this element of adultification as well. I don't know if you heard of the term, but a lot of the
Explain
kids.
it to us, and I guess.
It's when you treat kids like adults, even though they're children. So you might get a kid that's. I mean, it was a famous famous show on Netflix where the kids that were that were like in prison for apparently raping. It was in New York. I don't know if you remember. There was like a little documentary on 6 boys, black boys that were basically young boys playing basketball.
Oh yeah.
And there was a woman running in Central Park, and then she claimed she was raped by whoever. She just claimed that she was raped, and I think it was the time Donald Trump and some of the MPs were calling them vultures, animals. And these were six young black boys. They were put in a normal prison, sent to a normal prison.
Yeah, Central Park 5. Was that what it's called?
Something like that. Yeah.
And how old were
They were young, like 15, 16. They're young, like kids, children. But then they were treated like adults.
Yeah.
So what happened is that you might see, for example, a lot of black kids. That
When they see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might see a lot of black kids, unfortunately, they'll be like, for example, being strip searched happens in terms of like, prisons and, severe situations where you're worried about drugs being smuggled into that prison, but not a 15-year-old girl.
But what was the reason?
In school. Unheard of.
But was it for drugs that she was searched?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Because I don't know the incident.
It was something that they were searching
the-
for, but essentially
drugs,
it
yeah.
happened
It was
to
drugs,
a black girl.
Yeah.
Why?
And it's unheard of. That would never ever happen to to a white girl.
Yeah, so that's another question as well in
There
a
were
sense.
protests. You know what? The consequences from it were quite
It was
positive.
good,
Eventually,
There was definitely like, what's happening? How is this even possible? But yeah,
it's
going
definitely
back to,
changed. Policies around nationwide.
But don't you think
100%
kids should be
safeguarding,
searched if it's going to prevent some violence, perhaps? Like a lot of violence in London. And
No,
we've
no,
done an episode on this where the knife crime happens just after school. That's the main time. Daytime, I thought we all thought it was at night. So if we search the kids, some of them that had knives or, had problems, then it might be worth, you'll prevent a lot of the violence.
thing is about searching as well. For example, you can't just search any kid that you think's got a knife as well, because then that can be racist. Like, depending on who are you searching, what are you just picking? Depending on your whims and desires, because it could be seen as imagine if every
But if a
every
kid
black
that
kid
you
that
know
comes in.
that has been naughty, has had violence
What does
incidents.
what you mean though?
I'm sure you've been in teaching 8 years.
Yeah,
You
but
don't know a troublemaker.
No, I get that, but I'm saying, what is it that gives you the indication that these kids are the ones that've got weapons?
Because he's probably been violent before.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, violence in what sense, though? We're talking about it could be like a fight, like a Daniel or Jack, had a fight with his friend in football. Are we going to be searching for weapons? Like, the point I'm trying to make is, if you're going to search, there needs to be some sort of evidence that was passed on to the school, an incredible evidence to say, hey, we assume or we think so and so's got a weapon, either from a student or from a teacher that found out from a student, because then that credible source would then allow for the school to then
But how likely
to
you're going to get
basically
another student?
implement a search on a student. I mean, it just can't be like, hey, you look like you've got a knife, and take, if you're looking at the black on black violence, because you're black, you're
It doesn't
young,
have to be black. I'm not saying
or
it
you're,
racial
you know what I mean? Like, you
profiling,
can just
but-
like, you know what, you look like you've got a weapon, come here, let me search you. You can't do that. There needs to be some sort of information that you've got, like a police. The problem we had back in the day when police were just searching, the stop and search back in the day, they just saw anyone that was like from a specific demographic that looked a certain manner. You're getting stopped.
Yeah, I've been stopped like 30 times.
That's what I'm
bro.
trying to get. So this is what you're trying to avoid in
King's
schools.
Cross.
Because if you allow that to happen, and every morning, normal kids will be like, you can go to your class, but you stay there for a minute. We're just gonna search your bag before you come into class. I mean, can't happen.
Are you for metal detectors?
Nah, I
They've
think
got it
it
in
gives
America,
a
haven't
different
they?
vibe. I
Metal
think if you
detectors,
got metal detectors in school, I feel like it's like a prison feeling. I feel like you change the outlook of school. It becomes more, I don't know, it just changes the whole feel of a school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So let's say, for example, you start bringing metal detectors in school, and then what's next? Like, we're gonna bring dogs as well, or you're gonna have like some schools have got like police officers on the campus or on the school.
Does that make it
Yeah,
worse?
yeah. That's the thing. Like, if you've seen the police officer walking up and down the school, that also, it kind of
But then
sends a
how,
message.
as a school, would you deal with it? Because I remember in the previous episode, you were saying for the parents that they need to, in some ways, control their teenagers from certain things. So one of the things mentioned was internet and phone and controlling that. Likewise, in the school, if there's a pandemic, if you like, of violence through knife crime, and it happens after school a lot and things like that, so the kids coming into school, if they're patted down or something and it prevents that violence, is there anything wrong with that?
One, it's impossible to pat down 1,000 kids. So it's not happening. No way. If you've got, like, for example,
Metal
a big school,
detectors?
no
Yeah.
way. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're going to bring in metal detectors and you're going to start bringing in these measures,
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't send my kid to a
what
school
I'm trying to get
with metal detectors.
what I'm
And the
trying to get
police
at.
officer's like,
Yeah, just
you know what I mean?
with the key,
well,
like,
actually,
walking
no,
around.
That's in America. Innit?
Hitting
Here they just they
got a camera,
hold their
the
vest.
vest,
Like,
yeah.
all right, mate, my name's Peachy Plod. You know what I mean? Like, nah, forget that, man.
Or like using their, like, you know the schools, they're like hitting their baton on the
Yeah,
metal,
yeah,
on the
yeah.
metal. We haven't got any metal bars in the schools, but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
imagine if you're just walking up and down with, what is it? What message does it send to kids? This is unsafe.
Yeah, 100%.
If I see a police officer in my school every single day,
I think they'll realize that when someone gets stabbed after school, bro.
yeah, but the question is, why is he here? Because essentially,
Yeah.
when you see police, something's gone wrong.
100%.
Yeah.
You don't see police, and
deal.
don't want to say that police officers are always in trouble, but you feel uneasy. Like, why is he here? Like, what's gonna happen?
Bro, I've got a question.
Go on, go for it.
So all of this, what made you be a teacher, man?
Oh, good question, man. Why did I become a teacher? So, like, I had a really horrible experience. I had a horrible educational experience growing up. So, my family moved to the UK. Mum and dad, late 80s. I was born in 1990, and I was born in South London. So,
Is it?
yeah,
Oh, where?
South London, Surrey Keys.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born in South London.
You were born in South London?
Yeah.
Sorry, all this time I thought you were born in Somalia, bro.
Everyone says that for some reason, man. Born
wrong
in South
with that,
London. I know, I've become very cultural, I guess.
yeah,
Innit?
yeah. What's up?
And I'm explaining why probably. But so born in South London, my mum didn't like the area. She wasn't a fan of it. It was actually funny enough. What happened was there was that riot. I don't know, within the early 90s, somewhere in South London, there was like a riot. I think it was through the Stephen.
Lawrence.
Yeah, the situation.
Oh,
So then there was a riot, and she doesn't understand English. She was just welcoming me on a pram, and she got picked up by one of the police officers and dashed back into the apartment. So listen,
way.
go back home, because there was literally a riot happening on the middle of the streets. There were the blacks or the black people were fighting against the police officers, and there was like a big rift in the community, right?
Yeah.
Mum got dashed back in the apartment, and she said, "You can't leave." When that happened, she was scared. So nevertheless, she basically was in the system, temporary housing, for like 20 years. We moved from South London to West. We moved to Scunthorpe.
Where the heck is that?
Scunthorpe, it's up
Yeah,
north.
that's up north.
Yeah, like I was moving all over the gaff. So what I'm trying to get is I went to 5 primary schools.
Wow.
Every
real?
year I went to a different primary school.
Okay.
So
I
that
thought I
caused
was
problems.
bad. I went to 3.
Bruv, I went
You
to
went to 5.
So I'm saying even going to 3 is a problem. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you can't build a relationship with the teachers. Because you've come from other primary schools, the teachers think you're naughty. Oh, this kid's a problem. 2, you don't know what a behavior policy is, or you don't know what type of system they've got in place. You don't have any relationship with any of the kids there. So some of them are trying to violate. So you're constantly getting in fights. Teachers don't really care for you. They don't know where you're from. Your parent doesn't speak English, so they can't really build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
So you're in a situation where every single year you're frustrated, you're misunderstood, and you're like, "Bro, I'm never going to be here for a year. I might even move homes." Do you know what I mean? So I went to 5 primary schools.
A new kid on the block.
Horrible. Yeah, it's like every single school you go to, you need to prove yourself. 5 primary schools.
And this is the 90s as
the
well, where there
90s.
weren't many black or brown people,
None.
let alone Muslims,
Yeah,
in
imagine-
your school.
And the teachers felt like they couldn't do anything. Imagine that they want to speak to my parent. My parent can't speak English. So what are they going to do? They'll be like, oh.
You translate in parents.
And you have to speak to me, and I have to translate to the parent, and they don't believe me translating whatever it is that they're trying to translate to.
That's
to
crazy. You know, in the last
So then
episode,
the teacher lose hope, innit? They're like, forget, it's a lost cause. Cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. In the last episode, you were talking about how like kids nowadays, like primary school kids, primary school is their whole life. It's their whole world. Yeah. Like I look at my son talking about primary school, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Exactly.
It's like it is their world, and their teacher. They love their teacher. They
what
love
I'm
the kids in the
saying.
school. And I'm like, wow. You know, they got friends with kids in the other years, and I'm like, that was never ever me.
That's what I'm saying.
Never me. I was a guy just like you. Went from school to school
Yeah.
with my dad was at work, never once took me to school. My niqabi mum would take me to school, you know. And we're talking about Islington here in the 90s, just chavs. You know, you're right, mate, you're right, Gavna. You know what I mean? They're now looking at a niqabi with 4 or 5 little brown kids.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah. How are they going to build a relationship with your mum, like, in terms of like them trying to like tell them
There's no relationship.
How can we help his education
Oh.
and how can we excel or support him in his maths? And
I stayed in the same school, bro.
Never had those conversations.
Yeah.
It must be even worse for you then.
That's, yeah.
5 kids.
5
kids.
5 kids, you know.
5 schools.
5 schools. 5 different teachers. I don't remember any of them. I genuinely don't have a name of a teacher because I went to so many.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of them.
I remember one name. That's all.
I go back to my like pictures in the past. Yeah, I think I've got like 5 different colors of uniform. There was a picture of me in a blue uniform and then a red, then a yellow. It's like I've worn so many different uniforms in the past. Moving on. So then we got went to high school. So I went to 2 high schools. Secondary school, they call it, in West Sundays High School, but nevertheless, 2 secondary schools, right?
Yeah, secondary, yeah.
Because I had such a troubled experience in primary school, went to high school, and that was also quite difficult as well because, it's a different school, essentially. So it's my 6th school, right?
And secondary schools tend to be huge compared to primary schools.
More numbers, more kids, more problems, more
Don't mention which one you went to?
No,
people
mention
from your
of
school,
schools.
all schoolmates shouting out at you.
Exactly.
No comment.
No comment at all. So that school was wild, right? I went there in year 7 and so bad that, I was in trouble every day. There was barely any how schools were back in the day.
I don't know how high schools were, bro.
Yeah, the funding wasn't there, but it was like...
call it secondary school.
Yeah.
High school's almost...
High school's American.
It's like American
Yeah,
terms,
but people in like Hounslow and Ealing call it
Yeah,
high
yeah,
school,
yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
trying to narrow it down.
Yeah.
It's a bit like trying to find that same
like
password,
30 of
isn't it? Ealing High School. No, I'm joking. Go on.
So I was having such a troubled time at school, and my mum was also like sick and tired of it. She came like in year 7. She probably came to the school like 10 times because of the fact that I was either in fights or in problems and stuff. And she's like, you know what? This isn't working. This is not working. There's no way I'm gonna have you. I'm not gonna be coming to school every 10 days to deal with you having a fight or a problem with the teacher. Ain't happening. Book the ticket. I spent 1 year in Somalia.
Ah, you're one of those kids.
Yeah, 1 year, one time. They call it Dhaqan Celis.
What do they call it?
Dhaqan Celis.
What's that at school?
No. It's just like a term that we have where
It's a term for naughty
so
kids
just
that get sent back home.
going back.
Yeah, that happened with the Bengali community as well.
I've sent a lot of time.
What do they call that?
There's like an
Just
intervention.
Go home.
Go back.
Go back.
Go back to you know what I'm saying? Like,
Go back to your country.
1 year in Somalia. 1 whole year in Somalia. And my mom's like, listen, it's not working. Clearly it wasn't.
You were about, 12 then, yeah?
So my whole year 8, I was in Somalia, right?
Oh, and year 8 is like the naughty year,
Because
isn't
in
it?
year 7, I was no way I was going to survive 5 years in that school. What's not going to happen? Like, for my year 7, I was on like, I must have done so much. Like, I was brought in every couple of days, detentions, reports, being kicked out for a bit, like, not permanently excluded, but when you're out of school for like 5-6 days because you've done something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was excluded for a bit. So yeah, essentially my year 7 was so bad. My mom was, no, we're not having this. No way. One year in Somalia, and that was, I'm not gonna lie to you, that year in Somalia was phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant, man.
The thing with parents sending their kids back home, you're sending that kid to be disciplined.
Yeah.
That kid needs to be with you to be disciplined.
Good
the
point.
most.
Yeah.
But you're not there.
No, Mom, that's
And
the
you're not going to
difference.
get family members that
Very
are
good
looking
point.
over you the way
Very
your
good
parents
point.
will
Yeah.
be. So a lot of kids end up being worse, by the way.
100%. That's a good point. That's the thing. My mom actually came with me.
Oh.
So it was my mom, me, my 2 sisters, even though they were pissed, right? My younger sisters. And my mom, we all went. We were all there for a whole year.
And that was for you.
Yeah.
But
Only for me.
mashallah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's proper sacrifice.
My dad was holding the fort. He was in the UK, sending the P, of course.
Mashallah.
The Habshil. I don't know if you know what that is.
What's
but it's
it
like
again?
it's a remittance. You send money back home.
Remittance,
Yeah. You send it back home. But essentially, my dad was in the UK. He was like, yo, to make sure this kid comes back straight, comes back, on point.
Wow.
So I went to school there. And good thing about going to Somalia. So I'll tell you why it was beneficial, because there was an identity issue at the time. Like, because remember, I had no belonging whatsoever. Like, I've been moving from house to house, school to school. I was constantly like frustrated, misunderstood. I just didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
So you go to Somalia and then you see everyone Somali. And there's an element of them knowing who you are. There's like roots involved. Like for example, imagine you go into Egypt. Like, I know your forefather. I know the village you came from.
Yeah.
This is you. This is your identity.
Yeah.
Because I was born in the UK, and for me, I was like, and back in the day, they hated Somalis. I don't know if you know, but
Yeah.
there was like a proper if you were Somali back in the day,
I never knew any
you had it hard.
Somalis. They were all Kenyans, apparently. This is the thing, right?
Yeah.
Every Somali I met when I was a child was Kenyan.
It was hard.
And then suddenly, a few years later,
They're Somali.
bare Somalis
Yeah.
around, and they're proud to be in
The
Somali.
Yemenis also became Somali as well. Innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Half
so
Yemen,
yeah.
it was
half
hard.
Somali.
Yeah, being a Somali
for
back
sure,
in the day was difficult, man. I think we were getting back. There was beef. Like you being
Yeah.
a Somali, there was a problem.
Yeah.
Because there was an element of like, I think it was also, there's a lot of, we don't call it racism, but we were like the new blacks, but at the same time, we weren't black.
Yeah. You had
If that
white
makes
people on
sense.
your case, but black people on your case as well. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So it was almost like it was better for them to say I'm Kenyan because it was more like, it was
African,
like,
yeah.
you know
I
what?
don't know.
All right, cool. But Somalis,
Yeah.
never heard of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what's fascinating? Like, like the Nigerians and the Ghanaians, and they can actually like, like the Jamaicans, because the Jamaicans were the first blacks in the UK. When if a Ghanaian and Nigerian, they kind of like, you can probably pass it. I know a lot of people that were, I thought they were Nigerian back in the day, but I thought they were Jamaican, but then they were Nigerian. And,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Then the cultures are quite not similar, but because we see
The
Somalis
contrast isn't as big as
Yeah, the
Somali
contrast, yeah,
to
exactly.
West,
But not only that,
to
I
West
think
Africa.
like they were trying to copy the Jamaicans because
I
they
don't
were
know,
more
I don't
popular.
wanna-
No,
I don't want to say that, but I'm trying to say is that, for
Yeah, yeah,
example, that Somalis were Somali, were Muslim, they were
Yeah.
black and they were Muslim as well, and it was quite bait, like.
And
you
it
know
was
what I mean?
bait.
It's
It was bait.
like,
Yeah,
mum's
yeah,
wearing
yeah,
a hijab.
yeah. Aunties are wearing
Like-
the
Yeah, it's
full
bait,
yeah.
abaya, the
Full
khamar,
on,
everything.
yeah. And not only that,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
unapologetically Muslim as well.
Yeah.
Like,
So
all
that
of
year
us are put
there,
on-
Whereas
good.
Nigerian and Ghanaian Muslims, some it's very bad of us, but sometimes we don't actually recognize. Not recognize. Sorry. Sometimes definitely not recognize. But sometimes we don't actually know that they're Muslim until they tell us. Or like, what's your name? You know, my name is I don't know. My name is Omar or Rahim or Muhammad. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, wait, you're Muslim. You know what I mean? Whereas Somali's like 1,000,000%
It's like a
Muslim
stamp on you,
because
yeah.
he just looks Somali.
One
There's
time,
a
yeah.
Somali look.
That's
No matter
it.
where you go in the world, you
Yeah.
know this guy's Somali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went to Somalia, it gave me a sense of identity, and also you see poverty, so you realize like
Yeah.
it's hard. You start to appreciate what you've got.
Was
Like-
that character building?
Yeah, 100%. Imagine like seeing people like homeless, not homeless, but living on like nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like proper tawakkul upon Allah Azza wa Jalla. Like, you know, circumstances were, you know, it's a third world country. So you start realizing like, you've got a good, like, you know, you've got, you know, you're from a country, you've got identity, you know, you're not hated.
Yeah.
You know, you go back to like, everyone looks like you, you know, you've got this element of, you know, you feel like humans need an element of belonging. Do you know what I mean? You need to feel like I didn't feel British at the time. Even though I was born in the UK, you might not think I was, but I was,
No,
yeah.
I believe
But I'm
you
saying,
now.
you know what I mean? Like,
Let me see your
even though you're
birth
born, even though you're born here, but the problem is like in every circumstance, due to racism, due to the fact that you're an ethnic minority, the fact that you don't really blend in, your name's different. You know, Guled, you know, all these. The teacher can't even pronounce your name. Like,
Yeah,
What we doing in life?
I've been there.
your teacher can't even like tell your mum your kid's good or your kid's bad. Like, you can't even communicate.
Because he can't remember your name.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like there's such a big difference in terms of like such a
So
big huge gap.
Did you have an identity crisis? Would you say before you went to Somalia?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I've been to like
Well,
you
so
know.
what would
A
you
lot of
think?
the time with children, teenagers, they don't know it's identity
yeah, like
crisis.
imagine like Muaz
Yeah, I
growing
know.
up in Islington, and you got bare Beckys and Daniels and Jack, but your name is Muaz.
Muaz.
Muaz. Yeah.
You need to ask yourself, okay, why am I different from that individual?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it like? If I look different, I get that, but you know what I mean? There's an element of like, there's something that, you know, that differs between me and you. And, you know, it's like the elephant in the room, innit? And if you don't have a strong identity, you're going to be insecure.
100%.
You're going to cave in. You're going to see some,
And then you become who your friends are. You become what your surroundings.
Yeah.
You become your surroundings.
exactly.
But what was
Made you a
so?
teacher.
No.
Go on.
Before we go into what made you a teacher, but what made you? Sorry,
Somali.
when you went to Somalia,
Yeah.
tell me other things because I'm very into like self-development, character building, and
Yeah.
and growth, personal growth, and you know, year 8, 12 years old is
Yeah.
a crucial age.
Huge, yeah.
You know, you've still got a sponge-like mind. You're still developing and growing so much. And year 8, year 9, it kind of like it's where the path splits.
100%.
You know, you're either gonna go that way or you're gonna go that way.
100%.
You know, any younger than that, you're not really gonna make that decision. And any older, you've already made that decision. So, I want to know, like, when you went to Somalia for a year, how did it change you?
You know what? Going to Somalia for a year, I feel like it was a luxury. And what I mean it was a luxury is the fact that, I know it sounds a bit ironic, but going to another country, living in a different environment, A lot of people can't afford that. A lot of people can't just leave a council estate, live in another country for a year, sustain themselves and come back. Because remember, traveling is one of the biggest eye openers. I mean, you own a trekking company.
Yeah.
Going to Peru and going to like Nepal and going to these different locations, you learn, bro.
Yeah, of course.
You open your. I felt like the world was the UK. Like I genuinely felt like this bubble I was in was the world. But that was the first time. It was the first time I was traveling as well, by the way. So when I went to Africa, I'm like, there's a country.
You had never been to Somalia?
No, I just got my passport then.
Bro.
So I'm like, I've never left the country. Bear in mind, people can't afford to leave country. It's expensive, by the way. Traveling is not cheap.
Yeah, of course.
So going to another country, it kind of be like, you know what, life ain't even that deep. Like, I'm going to a different country. You realize people are different and people living in poverty. So how I developed, for example, all the teachers, I went to a school there. All the teachers are Somali. My mum would get a daily report on how I was behaving. Those teachers will explain my behavior, like the patterns, why I reacted in that manner, are able to express why I felt I misunderstood in the system. So, for example, this person called me a Somali something. And now, rather than snitching or telling the teacher, I might just get in a fight.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, and then always see the teacher, all that teacher sees is an aggressive child.
As an aggressive black child.
An aggressive black child, and always just report the kid and get the kid in trouble. Whereas I could have explained myself or could have been a bit more patient. I don't know. There could be a situation in which I could be told, hey, don't react in that manner.
Yeah.
A teacher that cared for you, that probably understands you, can speak to your parents, can educate you and tell you, hey, why are you so angry? Because I got in fights in Somalia as well.
I was about to say, so when you're Somali, was that all just diffused? Or
No.
it just continues?
That's the continue. I got in fights because they'll be like, this little chubby
Little
kid
freshie.
from the UK, this little freshie from the UK.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're like some soft
in
kid.
Egyptian, they'll call you a khawaga, like someone who can barely speak Arabic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
little
gonna get
Farsi
it.
boy.
But when I got it, it was funny. Like, for example, like got in a fight and I got tucked in. Like, so first time, so in Somalia, they don't really big on punches and kicks. So they're not on, the normal traditional like.
Yeah, yeah.
punch
What
and
are they on,
kicking.
like wrestling or?
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
So I'm thinking, let me try to fight this guy with fists and kicks, right? That's how UK is, isn't it?
Yeah, these guys
Guy
straight
came
up
to me.
grappling you.
Guy came to me, just gave me a headbutt one time.
Oh.
I
Headbutt.
was like, what? Like completely like took me off guard, like.
Yeah.
And of course, then we see we were just wrestling on the ground. Parent. So for example, the teacher then calls my mum.
Is that in Somalia?
Somalia. Teacher calls my mum. In the UK, teacher can't even communicate with my mum, right? But I would just come, right? Come to school in like very like, come to like they talk to my mum like she's deaf, like come to school, and she just realize, okay, I need to come because he's in trouble. The teacher in Somalia calls my mum, listen, your kid got banged up, like you got tucked in, you need to come now. And mum was like, what happened? Listen, I told you, just come. And then it kind of calmed my mum down. And when my mum came to school, my mum got like a whole detailed explanation as to what happened. This kid called him that, he retaliated, he should not have, like breaking down the whole situation. Rather than it being a reactionary, oh my God, or like rather than her being confused, she could then always take me home and tell me, this is what you should have done. Do you know what I mean? This is how you need to react. This is how you're meant to like hold yourself. This is how you're meant to like, you need to have thick skin in certain aspects. Not go for each and every, not fight on every single statement I said to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you develop as like, you're getting professionals, teachers, imams, uncles, aunties, everyone's chipping in to develop you as a person.
So you got the village.
The whole village.
They say it takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly.
You were stuck in Ealing. You weren't getting no
I
village.
wasn't getting anything.
There was nothing.
Yeah. The teachers didn't care. There weren't any uncles and aunties you can go to other than your actual immediate family household. But even then, they weren't aware of what's happening in the country. They couldn't speak the language. So they were living in their own bubble. And if you want the village to teach you how to be a man, then you're going to be a drug dealer. Like, if you're going to be in a council estate, you'll probably be a drug dealer or a gangbanger. If you want to be raised by the village that you're in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But coming back from Somalia.
Now coming back. Yeah.
Guess what? I wanted to go back to my school.
The same one.
What do they say?
Obviously, you're not allowed.
Of course.
Yeah.
Coming back to the same spot. What do you think this is? I think this is paid school, like.
Yeah.
You pay for your spot. Man, if you left, you left. Your spot's gone.
Yeah.
So then I had to go to another secondary school.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. So then even then, coming midway within year 9 as well, remember you're picking your GCSEs. Some of these teachers don't know who you are. I mean, remember, you're not like the ones that came in year 7. You know that you don't really have those relationships. Teachers are then always worry about you.
You're labeled straight away.
This guy is a troublemaker who came from, do you know what I mean? And on top of that, when you're an ethnic minority, coming back from Somalia, you're naturally going to go to your group of Somalis, right? You're going to, and then thing is, on the offset, it looks like a gang type of behavior. So Somalis are going to be with Somalis, and you know how we are. We're loud, and we're boisterous, and we're pushing, and we're
You guys are loud and pushy and boisterous and direct. Never seen it before.
Exactly like the Muslims as well. You know that was there, like, you know what I mean? Nafsu. So essentially, but then they don't realize, like, for example, like even when I'm as a teacher, I see bare Somali boys together, and you see bare like they're in a group together. They're cracking joke, they're pushy, they're boisterous, but then always see the system doesn't allow that. Yeah. We don't want this. This is seen as not informal, but it's seen as disruptive. It's a problem. We want you to be individualistic, hardworking, quiet. Two people talking civilized. They call it. This is uncivilized. You guys, 5 of you guys, cracking joke and slapping tables, and you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But then all you see, that's how we are, quite lively in that sense. But then all you see, that isn't necessarily then they don't see that as a productive thing. It's seen as a quite aggressive thing. Not only that, you're guilty by association as well. So, for example, if Abdullah or Ismail does something, and you tend to be in the same group as them, you're being pushed aside as well. Come in, let me get a statement from you. You're already involved. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're always like guilty by association. You're also like group. They kind of give you like like that element of like you're part of those individuals. Yeah. So it's kind of a stigma attached, if that makes sense. Yeah. Also, the kids tend to be bigger than the teachers, like you said, isn't it? So you've got some massive kids with a deep voice now, thinking that there is an element of them thinking that they can,
overpower the teacher.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So then, how did you get? So you got through all of that, and then you got to your GCSEs.
Yeah.
So GCSEs, college. I'm trying to figure out at what point did you ever think that teaching is for you?
That's the thing. So I left. So thank God, alhamdulillah, with it, I got myself into university. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Was that through A levels or clearing?
A levels. Oh no, what do you mean? Like university?
Yeah.
University, I just got in with A levels.
A-levels,
But the fact that I got into A levels, did my GCSEs. It was difficult. It was hard, but alhamdulillah, scraped through it.
Yeah.
Finished uni.
What
I
subject
went to
did you
sales.
take in uni?
Business.
So
I went to sales. I wanted to work in the corporate world, wasn't it? Doing those 100 interviews.
Yeah. I've been there.
Hunger Game styles, like you know what I mean, like where you're just basically in a hall with 100 applicants applying for one role. So I had to do loads of those. I got into one recruitment consultancy at the time. I really wanted to get into finance, working for like a bank or Deloitte or one of these consultancy companies. But essentially, working in sales and consultancy. Got married, and then a lot of my and then after that, my missus, when I got married, like I said in the previous episode, she had a really good experience teaching, and then she is very studious. That went to a school, great grades, still has great relationships with the teachers, goes back quite often. She lived in the same area for all her life and all of her siblings went to the same school and all of them got great grades as well. So it's like they've got this really close relationship with education, a good experience, a pleasant experience. She's convincing me, saying, "Look, jump into it." She's also a qualified English teacher as well. So she's like, "Yeah, get into teaching."
So before that, you didn't actually think of being a teacher?
No way. I was like, "What, teaching? Nah."
I'm not going to lie, because obviously for the viewers who don't know, we all went to university together. And I never saw you as a teacher. And then you know what?
What do you think? It was like police officer or something? What do you mean? Like, what type of roles did you see me do?
Prison guard. I'm joking. I definitely more in the corporate world, sales, definitely over teaching. But then I was running a youth camp one time, and I invited him over, and I was like, "Listen, Guled, you've been a teacher for a couple of years. You come down and talk to these kids." My guy came down laptop, projector, excellent presentation. And I was like, Allah. I was like, Gulaid, what happened here? When did this guy become so professional, bro? Allah, he changed me. Ahmed Mahmoud was sat there just like, Gulaid is smashing it. And these kids are sat down attentive. Yeah, no, mashallah. You turn things around.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah. Like I said, it was one of those ones where, I got pushed into that, the missus, I said, listen, literally go for it. Also, it complements a family lifestyle. You have the same holidays as your kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Quite flexible in the sense that,
there's so many perks. I think
so
you
many
get
perks
like
being
18 weeks of holiday.
Loads of holidays as well.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, we'll talk pay later, but essentially it was nice, right? But the thing is, I also had like a knack for going abroad. So I wanted to like go, if I was going to also being a teacher, I thought, you know what, let me go abroad and be a teacher as well.
You're in the Middle East for a bit as well.
Yeah, 4 years in the Middle East.
4 years?
4 years, yeah.
Before you joined up here for 8 years?
So first did I did 4 years in the Middle East as a teacher, but I wasn't a qualified teacher then. But then obviously came back to the UK, said, you know what, let me.
Well, after the degree, you have to do another course, don't you?
PGCE, yeah.
PGCE, that's it, yeah.
So
you did, you were English teacher?
Yeah, English teacher.
Celtaflex?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did that for a bit and then came back, did my PGCE, then went through the whole teaching qualification route, and now I'm teaching business and economics at secondary level. So essentially, went through the whole teaching situation, and my missus was the main, because she gave me a different outlook as to how education can be helpful. And not only that, I was still like, teaching. But then when I started teaching in the UK, and how the kids embraced me was that phenomenal.
Is it because you're a local guy that could relate to them? You when you were a kid, you never had a teacher like you.
Nothing, Do you know how excited they get? They're like, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is give you Assalamu alaikum, and you're like, cool, wa alaikum assalam. Like, do you know what I mean? But if they're like, oh my God, he said wa alaikum assalam.
He's got aura.
That's what and they're so excited about those tiny things. Just that tiny saying or like, for example, a kid might say a word to me because his friend's Somali, and he might not be Somali, he might be like Asian or Arab or something. Sir, he might say a word in Somali just to relate with me. And I'll be like, you're right. And I'll be like, oh my God, I can't even think of a word, but it's like, it'll be like,
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? They'll say a word like, what are y'all?
Oh,
sir, what are y'all? Like, I'm like, cool, you got that word.
What was it like then when you were, did you ever like do the khutbah in school?
Oh yeah, we used to do like Jum'ahs in school, and it was good. Yeah, like
did you let the year 11s do it, or did you do it yourself?
Absolutely, the kids they all got involved. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those like, it was a really good way to like mix cultures as well. All these different cultures came together to pray together, because sometimes you might see it's a bit divided. Like you might see the Bengalis and the Pakistanis and the Somalis, and you might see some divisions, but it's crazy. They all come together when it comes to praying.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And that's seeing the way they interact and the way they manage it and the way they, they show each other love in that sense as well. It's a pleasant, it's a wonderful experience in terms of like seeing it, and also there's zeal for it as well. I mean, imagine seeing a kid in year 7 putting his foot in a sink in a toilet. Like, back in the days, it's not happening. When we were in school,
shook.
Take off your socks and put your foot in the sink, like. And you see, what's this guy doing there? It was embarrassing.
I still remember being in year 7, and I'd like to think of someone. I'd like to think that I'm someone who was, my parents really made salah, prayer, like absolute, the be all and end all. This is the most important thing you have to do. You could do everything in the world, all the sins in the world, and never abandon your salah. So I remember like going into year 7, and like alhamdulillah, they gave us like the PE hall or something. But I remember in front of I still remember this was in front of a kid called Davis. And I remember he walked into the changing room of the gym hall. Yeah, the changing room. And he saw me doing wudu, and I kind of like slowly stopped.
That's what I'm saying.
And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, no, just washing my arms. And he was like, I know you're doing your wash for prayer. Just continue. Wow. So he was a Nigerian kid that obviously been around Muslims because he knew. And I was like, okay. But like, you know what I mean? Like this, and I'm not the only one. There were many, many kids that were quite shy. Forget, there were many kids that weren't even praying out of being shy. You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah, man, that's amazing that there was like... Yeah, schools have changed, man, for the best.
Because, for example, let's say you got some... Imagine me, I'm praying with them as well.
That's mad.
So imagine a teacher stood next to you, he's teaching you business next lesson, but he's also stood right next to you.
I would have loved school.
Do you know what I mean? That gives you a different, that allows you to enjoy your teaching experience. Your educational experience.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you can relate with the system, if that makes sense. You know, we talk about a system and
100%,
institutionalized racism.
Yeah.
A lot of it, it's like a barrier. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying there's an element in which it's me against the world. It's me against them. Me against the government. Like, it's like, oh, you guys are, you're racist. Like, you're not, because there isn't any connection in the sense that there is no bridging of cultures or accepting each other's differences. But when you've got someone that's, not say part of the system, but if you've got a teacher that shares the same experiences as you, Muslim as well, you'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I can see myself being a teacher in the future. Or, I can push you to the other level. You know what? How about you become like a barrister or a lawyer or a doctor, and you can actually, you can encourage them to work harder.
100%.
Like, you're pushing. Imagine the standards you're going to have for a kid. Like, you're a teacher and you see a kid that, reminds you of yourself. How much more effort are you going to be? Don't want to say it's favoritism.
Yeah.
But you're going to be like, you know what, man? I know you can do better.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think we got that when we were kids anyway.
Yeah. Or that when I was a kid, like, I'm going to make sure he becomes a doctor. Like, I'm going to push harder. I'm going to give him extra homework. And even then, like, I'm not going to lie to you, there were teachers that probably thought, I'm going to teach this kid a lesson because if he don't learn now, he's never going to learn. Some teachers are probably doing it in their fair. I'm going to give you detention because you flopped there.
Yeah.
Even that mindset of, understanding that they're doing it for the better of my life it wouldn't be there because unfortunately we haven't built that relationship. But in the long run, it can, I've been harsh on some of the kids that, Arabs and so on. It's like, what are you doing? Fix up, work harder.
It's good. And they probably took that positively.
Absolutely, yeah. So honestly, it's a blessing. It's a responsibility. It's also something that I definitely encourage more and more people to get involved and work in schools.
And with the right mindset, it's sadaqah jariyah.
Absolutely,
you're passing on knowledge, man.
Yeah, man.
So it's an amazing. That is that in itself is a great motivator to continue doing what you're doing and be that force for change and influence people to do good, to do better. To wrap up before we leave, what would you say is your what's your message to teenagers right now, to school kids right now? Or if you want to spin it in a different way, what would you say to 14-year-old Gulaid if you could go back a couple decades?
Oh, that's a good point, man. You know what I'd say, you know what? I'd probably say the world's your oyster, innit? There's no ceiling. There's no ceiling at all in the sense that you can be whatever you want to be. At a time when being 14, you tend to worry about, I don't know, you feel like, you got that like Stockholm syndrome. Like, do I have that value, that self-efficacy? Can I actually be that person? Am I like, can I be a doctor? Can I be a businessman? Can I own do I have that self-belief? And I feel like as a 14-year-old kid, you want someone that can just push you and tell you, look, I've been there, you can do it. Or just motivate them in a manner that could actually get them to, smash those internal ceilings. You assuming you can't get there, but you actually can. And I think if I had some sort of like a role model or someone that was, within that system, educational system, that could say, here's a shortcut.
Yeah.
Do this, don't do that.
Yeah, guidance.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a shortcut, but guidance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because obviously advice is technically a shortcut because they're telling you, look, I've been there, don't do that, go this route. Do you know what I mean?
Amazing, man. Amazing. The episode's flown by.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair.
We've reached the end. Honestly, bro, I felt like we could talk all night.
Yeah.
Parents
don't change the kids' schools all the time. Yeah.
if they have any choice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. A lot of times they don't have choice. But yeah, we'll end it there. Any final closing words?
You need a comment, probably.
Okay, if you've gone this far in the podcast, in this episode, drop a comment below.
What's that? When you say you go away for 1 year to Somalia, what's
that's
it
going to
called?
be hard. To the Somalis that are watching, how about this?
Go on.
We'll learn which demographic is watching the most. I forgot the word, bro. You're going to have to help me out.
Dhaqan Celis.
Dhaqan Celis.
Wow,
yeah, spell it how you like.
Come on, bro.
Good pronunciation.
Yeah, bro.
Dhaqan Celis.
Yeah, you
Don't mess with my
yeah?
makharij al-huruf, bro. Don't mess. Anyway, we've been AAA Talks, signing out. Muaz.
Safe.
Guled.
Mr. Guled. Assalamu alaikum.